Welcome to the Yearly Bento. Over the next 90 minutes, we're going to set our priorities for 2021. We're going to look back at the past year, and we're largely going to do this through journaling exercises, some different ones I'm going to give us. And we're going to end up answering 10 questions during this 90 minutes today. But through answering those 10 questions, I believe we're all going to get to a place of strong understanding of what happened to us this year, what happened to the people around us, what is it that we learned from this year, and that we're also going to be able to find what is our calling, to use a strong term, or what is that thing that is most important for us to work towards in the coming year. So we're going to make the most of our time together. It's going to be a lot of sort of introspection. There's going to be a breakout session towards the end, a short one where we'll just talk to one another. And then we're going to close by making a bento that will be your guide for the coming year. And basically, you're going to have a bento specifically for 2021 that you're going to be able to look at and say, here are my priorities. Here's what's important to me. But before getting to that, what even is a bento? Some of you may be new here. So bento is an acronym for Beyond Near-Term Orientation. And a bento is a very simple 4 boxes that force you to think beyond what you want right this second, and that ask you to think about the longer term and to think about the other people in your life and the larger world that is happening as a result of all of our actions. So it forces a consciousness and creates a kind of a muscle memory where you have to really see this larger perspective, and you end up having a much wider view of what's valuable, and even how you think about your self-interest is different. And so the Bento Society, the folks who are here together and the folks who meet regularly in spaces like this, we're all people for whom this tool works. It's helped us see beyond our individualistic desires. It's helped us have more meaning in life. It's helped us find our way. It's helped us create success, or even to redefine what success is. And so it's a sense-making tool and a decision-making interface that will guide you to whatever's important to you. And we're all going to have different responses to those things. So today we're going to use the ideas, the concepts of that, and some tools to build a real plan for you going forward. So I suggested ahead of time that we have a new notebook that we use today. So I have one. Hopefully you do too. If you don't, it's not a big deal. But we should start by writing a date at the top of the page. It will be helpful to go back and see exactly when we were writing these things. So I think today is December 13th, if I'm not mistaken. So let's just start by dating our notebook, because this is going to be interesting to look at in the near future. And we're going to start with just a very basic grounding question. And that grounding question is just a simple open journal. But for the next 3 minutes, we're just going to journal on the question of, how am I doing right now? So you're just getting settled into this space, getting your brain loosened up. And let's just all write down for 3 minutes. You're not going to share with anybody. How am I doing right now? All right, that's 3 minutes. All right, so that's just getting us warmed up. So the way I'd like us to begin today is by looking back at this past year. And this was obviously a mega year in a lot of ways. There are multiple years here. Really, the way there's the pre-COVID life and the post-COVID life. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm giving us quite a bit of time on the clock, 14 minutes on the clock. And during this time, we're going to go through and we're going to write down month by month just what happened for us. What happened? And when I did this yesterday, like I went back to my calendar. I went, flipped through my inbox, kind of looked, just had a sense of what was happening in my life. And the closer I got to looking at, say, how I was using my time, the closer I got to sort of the emotions and the mood that I was in at that moment. But so what we're going to do is for the next 14 minutes, we're just going to look through, recall, and just write down what happened this year. All right. That's all we're going to do. And just do it, I would say month by month would be my recommendation. And, for me, when I was doing these yesterday, I was coming up with maybe 5 or 6 things. Some months were a little busier, but just what are the standout things? That's all we're going to do first is just write those down. So I'm going to put time on the clock so you can open a calendar. If you want to go walk into another room and grab something, you can. This is like our own little archival mission and just assessing what in the world happened these past 12 months. All right, so I'm going to set time there on the clock, and we will start sleuthing.
Holy smokes.
Five more minutes for this part. One more minute. All right. So you've written out here kind of a reverse itinerary of what happened this past year. And what we're going to do as the next step is we're just going to spend some time just reading everything we've written down here and just what do we notice? What themes, what I don't know, like what happened? What happened for us? There's going to be some basic things that stand out, but just sort of look through them, remember, be in that place. And for the next couple of minutes, we're just going to write down just what do you notice as you look at what you've gone through this past year? All right. And related to this, next question, what did you learn? So you can see there's themes, there's things that have happened, but is there anything that you really learned for yourself? Maybe a way you changed or grew this year, or maybe something you want to like leave behind, some old version of yourself that you overcame in some way. But what did you learn this year? All right, so I'm going to give us 3 minutes to just see what's there for you. All right. Now I have one last question here looking back. Who are the key people in your life in 2020? You know, who are your all-stars? Who are those people that were just with you? Let's note them, and if you want to reflect on something about how you all related this year, that could also be great. All right. So this closes our first part of looking back at 2020. We're gonna, in a moment, time travel ahead a year. But before that, maybe we can all just stand for a second or just reset ourselves, and then get ready to sort of shift mindsets. All right. So let's just sort of stretch or something. I'm going to stand out of my chair and sit down again. Yeah, great. And I want us all to imagine that we are falling asleep. In fact, why don't we just close our eyes right now? And we're having a wonderfully restful night's sleep. And we're going to keep our eyes closed. They give these instructions, and we imagine we open our eyes and it's December 31st, 2020. Sorry. Excuse me. We go to sleep, we wake up, it's December 31st, 2021. It's a year from now. And as you open your eyes that morning, a year from now, you can feel in your body that somehow all those things that you had wanted to happen had happened, and that you really made it. The things that you were working on clicked. That your life is in a place that even exceeds your expectations, and you're waking up that morning, almost baffled and just in awe and amazed by what all has transpired. And so, what I'd like us to do for the next 3 minutes is to journal about what it is that we notice when that happens. If we picture waking up and it's just been this amazing year where we just feel satisfied, like we've grown, whatever the things that we set out to do. What are those things that have changed for you? What are those things that you notice? What are those things you think about? And so let's take the next 3 minutes, and we're just going to journal about imagining waking up December 31st, 2021. The things that you aim to have happen are happening. So let's just write down what those things are. What is it that you notice that's different? What is it that's changed? All right. So as we look at those things that we've imagined changing within a year, this waking up on this wonderful morning, now let's think about what are the things about us what needs to be true of us for these things to happen. Now, in some cases, we might be identifying things that must continue to be true. We have to keep working hard at a certain thing. We have to remember something or follow some practice. Maybe there are other ways that we're going to have to evolve a little bit in how we think about those things. So let's just try to identify both things that need to stay the same and also maybe things that need to be different. But what needs to be true of us for these things we wrote down, for those things to actually end up happening? All right. right. Next question. We have 2 more questions. Next question is, what needs to be true of the people around you for this to be possible? So again, you're imagining that December 31st vision. And as we saw from this past year, of course, we need those people around us. That us is really important. So let's spend some time thinking about what needs to be true of the people in our life for this outcome to have happened. What needs to be happening in your partner's life or in a family member's life or a collaborator or a coworker. Let's try to think about this from someone else's perspective and imagine what might be necessary. All right, so one more time on the clock. Okay. All right. So the one more step before we go into breakouts is we're going to look at all these 2021 things we've written, things we changed, what needs to be true of us, what needs to be true of others. And now we're going to look at these things and try to imagine, is there some maybe theme that sits above this? Maybe not everything is going to fit, but is there some singular idea, some calling, something that really stands out to you? And we're going to look through what we've written down and try to find what those things may be. There might be more than one. There might be sort of some chunks of things. But we're just going to look for what are those themes and what we're thinking about. And if it's possible to sum up sort of what you see, what stands out here as what's important to you this coming year, you can pull that out and try to write that down. But let's just look at all these things that have come out and just what do we notice? What theme emerges, and is there like a kind of calling or a central idea that we see? There may or may not be that, but let's just see what's there. All right, that's time. Um, what's fascinating about doing this exercise this way, it happened to me just now, is that sort of seeing all these different perspectives, it really changes your perception of even how it is you're going to go about doing something. So, for example, I thought going in that my goal was going to be grow the Bento Society. That is like my full-time focus at this point. But in answering this way, I came to see actually my goal is to grow authentic connections with other people. And Bento is one realm of that, one aim of that. But ultimately, it's like that's how to grow Bento, I think, is how this emerged in going through this process. But that's the benefit of sort of the Bento model of being forced to not just think like, what do I want? What does my career trajectory say should happen now? But it widens that lens just a bit that I think still gets you those things that you're looking for, but maybe reveals a better path to achieving them. Before we chat a little bit as a group, uh, would like to now do this final step of this process today, and that's to make a 2021 bento. And so the way to do that is to get a blank piece of paper, whatever your method is of keeping track of this. But we're thinking of this as our master bento for this year. And you're just going to have the four boxes. I wrote 2021 bento at the top. I'm writing the date that I wrote this down. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to guide us through just filling in each of these. And as we're responding, we're not responding from like a normal weekly bento perspective. We're just trying to picture almost the entire year as like a single moment in time. Right. It's almost like we're using like tree time as we think about what a year is. We're just like, okay, this is how we need to be during this period of time to end up where we want to end up. So as we're responding to say now me, we're just thinking like, what are the day-to-day things I need to be doing? What's like the grind of work that has to happen, or the things I always have to be checking. For us, we're thinking about those people in our networks. And then when we're thinking about those future things, as I'm filling in this box from future me, I'm imagining kind of this person that I am becoming. I'm almost picturing like a slightly bigger silhouette of myself, that I'm progressing towards in some way. So it's something just slightly beyond the reach of like what this goal is, the things I'm writing about here today. But I'm just trying to imagine this whole year. I'm making every choice, just having these things just front and center. All right, so we're going to start with now me. Now me is the bottom left. And so for now me, we're just going to write down thinking of sort of for 2021, the things that, where we want to be, the things that are important, what we know the reality of our life is. What is it that we want to be doing on a day-to-day basis? What are those core things, those core goals? What are we orienting ourselves around? So I'm going to put 90 seconds on the clock. You're going to write down to sort of synthesizing. I end up listing like 6 or 7 things in each of these boxes, but see what comes through for you there. All right, that's time. So next, let's look at now us. So, the core people in our life. So let's think about, and the larger communities we're a part of too. So what is it that we want to be doing for now us? Who are those core people for us in 2021? How do we want to relate to the worlds that we're a part of? All right, so 90 seconds. All right, that's time. Next, we'll go to the bottom right. So the bottom right is future me. Again, we're imagining just this kind of step ahead. Maybe this future me we're picturing, that's who 2022 is going to be, for us. So we're still progressing towards, this larger goal. So as you think about that for yourself, as you think about what is just sort of on the other side, what it is that you're working towards, what is that? And how do you want to keep that just present for you? Just remind yourself of what your own goals and priorities are, your own idea of success is. This is where you can be very clear on that and anchor yourself to your deepest values and priorities. All right, so 90 seconds. Last, we have in the top right, we have future us. So future us, we're thinking about what is the world we want to see. Again, we could think about the world just around the corner. Not sci-fi futures, not tomorrow, but just around the corner. And what's important to us? Where do we want our energy to go? How is it that we believe the world should change or stay the same? So let's write down what comes to mind for the next 90 seconds. All right. So what I would encourage you to do, I'm actually going to do it right now, is I'm going to take a picture of this and just have this be a thing that, I mean, I'm going to have it in this notebook, which I'm going to use to guide my energy this week, this year. But also, like, this should be on my phone. So anyway, I'm just going to do that now. You all should do that too. Keeping it real, being authentic. It was on my bento, so I'll just do it in front of y'all. And the beauty of this is that if you just stay anchored to this, what you're seeing now, reflecting on the last 12 months, being able to think about where you want to go, this can manifest the exact things that we're dreaming of. Yeah, so that's what we'll be using. All right. So during the year, we're going to have a couple instances where we'll check in. We'll have like a KPI sort of, assessment process. We'll find ways to be accountable and just to make sure we're looking back at this. But this right here, this is a truth that will treat you well, and I encourage you to ground yourself in this. So, I know we've gone over time, and I really appreciate everyone being here. Would love to maybe suggest one final thing, which is that we all turn on our microphones, and at the same moment, we all say the thing that we want to do this year. And it's, who knows what's going to come out of our mouths, right? It's like maybe a couple of us have some good catchphrases, but I think the idea of just saying it together could be fun. And then if people want to have a little Q&A after that, we can. All right. So I'm going to lead us off. I'm going to say, in 2021, I'm going to
be focused.
We'll just say that together. I'll say the count of 3.
People have fun.
Status quo in the face.
So fake.
Nothing
out of fear.
Everyone unmute. 1, 2, 3. In 2020, are we doing this? Where are you all? All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Do it.
In 2020, I am going to
get out of my comfort zone.
Create
Status quo in the face.
Consistent and prioritize my
stronger
health and
connection.
prioritize self.
In 2021, I'm going to love more and I'm going to
open myself to failure.
My life.
All right, does anyone have any questions or anything they want to share or say here before we wrap up?
No, I didn't get a ring statement. I would like to make a statement if I could. Can you hear me?
Sound.
Yes.
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 All right. My name is Conway Strickler. I'm CG Strickler. I'm Yancey's dad. And I want to say to all of y'all how proud I am of you and what a wonderful thing this is. And it's going to be a better world if we just all stay with it and we all work for it. I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Way to go, Conrad. Have a great
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for making Nancy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dad. Who else?
Something that really touched me in this was how to put the balance of putting time towards our own things in order to be more generous in the community, really finding that balance of how can I be more disciplined with really taking the time that I need to create what I need here and then using that to be generous outside. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is such a beautiful and simple way of finding those balances, and it's really helped me keep that as a focus of am I on track?
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. There's a real challenge of when you try to do all the things, you actually don't really make much progress. But there is possible to create a through line where there's a kind of a spirit or a way you do everything to where it works, it becomes possible. And I think that balance and sort of how you bring yourself or just who you are and how that comes alive, and doing things that make you come alive, all of that creates that. But when it's not there, it's hard. It's hard. It's a very hard task to try to keep everything going.
I wanted to jump in and say, if I may, before we end. Okay, I just really want to take a moment, at the close of 2020 to thank you all, everyone here, and, everyone that's a part of this community, for your openness. It takes a lot of courage to, stand in the face of what is most special to you and what is most personal, and to share that with another human on a screen. And it can feel very exposing, but I show up in every single one of my breakout rooms and I see a stranger, I just see this new face. And by the end, it's like my heart has new love for a person that I've literally just met. And so I want to thank you all for the way that you show up and you keep showing up. And it's given me so much hope in the world and in humanity to be a part of this group. So, yeah. Thank you all, and thanks for starting us off, Yancey.
Yeah, thank you, Amber. Thank you. Well, listen, this has been a wonderful time, and so we will all be more successful and more loving and more connected and more coherent with our worlds as a result of the stuff that we've done today. And of course, we also have the community of each other to lean on and to talk to, and this is a place you can keep coming back to stay accountable and to stay in the same mindset. The feeling you have now, this is not something that has to go away in this moment. This is something you can keep with you. All right, well, really appreciate it, and want to wish you a wonderful week, and peace and love to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yancy.
Till next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Yancy.
Thank you, everyone.
Everyone, thanks, Yancy.
Thanks, Yancy. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.